So we'll get started. We're going to start standing. And you might have a couple blocks and a bolster close by if you need them. Okay, so standing here at the top of your mat, look down to the feet for a moment and see that the outer edges of the feet are parallel to one another. You might feel a little bit just slightly pigeon-toed, and that's good. Actually, we want to feel that these upper thigh bones are internally rotating. So if you imagine that you have a block between the upper thighs, try to send that block to the back wall. Now lift up on the kneecaps and let your tailbone begin to get heavy and drop down. So with all of this muscular action through the lower body, you should feel pretty firmly rooted from the hips down, almost like your legs are a tree trunk. And then the hands rest at the sides. Press down into all of the foot, the whole surface of the foot, and let the spine begin to lift through the crown of the head. But notice if there's this splaying of the front ribs, we want to try to knit the front ribs into each other and down. So we're actually trying to find more height here through the back lower ribs. And this will activate the core. So now we've got the core engaged and strong. Feel these two front hip bones. Try to draw them together. So drawing them together energetically, and then broaden through the collarbone, feel the shoulders relax down the back. And here we are standing at attention. Palms will touch at the heart. This is Samasthiti, and it is a pose of attention. But this is also where we'll create our intention for our practice. So take a few breaths as you start to align with your Ujjayi Pranayam. That sound like ocean waves. And remember why you're here. Remember why you're practicing. Or perhaps make your practice today a dedication to someone or something that you love. And just take a moment here. If it feels natural, fingertips can rise up to touch the eyebrow center, bowing the head slightly as you stay with this intention for a few more breaths. And then we release. Release the hands down at the sides. Focus your gaze. We're going to come right into a standing balance. So you'll inhale and lift the heels up off the floor. And as you exhale, lower the heels slowly down. Again, inhale, lift the heels up, pressing flat the front crease of the ankle. Exhale, sink down to the earth. One more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lower down. Now we're going to inhale and come up again and stay. So lifting up, take the arms slowly overhead. Breathe here. Keep knitting those front ribs in. Feel your legs activating. Feel everything activating strong, steady through your core. One more breath. And then as you exhale, palms touch. They'll lower to the heart as you slowly lower the heels down to the floor. So when the hands get to the heart, the heels are grounded. Take a breath. And exhale, release the hands down at the sides. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Looking to the thumbs, just the arm movements of sun salutation. Exhale, hands back around to heart center. Inhale, arms again out and up. Exhale, arms around to the heart. Grow taller. Press down through the feet, lengthen through the head. One more. Inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, hands around to the heart. Now we're going to change this up. Half sun salutation. Inhale, just like before. Sweep the arms out and up. This time, exhale, swan dive. So hinge from the hips. Hands come onto the shins likely, or maybe the floor. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold nice and deep into the hamstrings. Let the head drop down all the way up. Sweep your arms out and up. Straight legs, straight spine. Exhale, hands around to the heart. Grow taller through the crown of the head. Samastitihi. Again, inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward. Thighs are engaged. Knees stay lifted. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, heart to horizon. Exhale, fold, neck softens here. And rise all the way up. Big breath in. Exhale, hands around to the heart. We're going to do just one more of these. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Now this time, stay right here in this forward fold. Heel toe your feet nice and wide. Bend the knees if you need to make it a bit easier for the hamstrings. You can keep your fingertips on the floor, or you can reach your hands for opposite elbows and hang here like a rag doll. Play around with bending and straightening both the knees, or bending and straightening one knee at a time. You can also play around with swaying the torso from side to side as we get a little deeper into the back body, into the hamstring. Good. Coming back to center, hands plant down onto the mat. We'll step back into downward facing dog and walk it out. So continuing that exploration into the hamstrings, bending one knee and then the other. Warming and pedaling out the backs of the legs. Bring your feet together and turn your toes to the right side. So both the heels stay together. They come off to the left, toes turn to the right. Now bend your knees deeply and press through both of the hands equally. Send your right hip up and back and breathe into that space along the right side body, the space between the hip and the lower ribs. And coming back to center. And we'll switch. Now toes turn to the left side. Heels swing out to the right. Both the knees bend. Press into both the hands firmly. And send that left hip up and back. Breathe into left side body. Good. And back to center. Feet are hips distance apart. Lift the heels high. So just like we did in mountain, heels lifted on the ball of the foot we are. Now bend the knees deeply and press through both of the hands, trying to press your chest towards your thighs. Super strong and deep into the shoulder. Head is soft, neck is totally relaxed. Now slowly you'll just begin to straighten the legs and sink down into the heels and really, really sink down into those heels as deep as you can. Spiral the shoulder blades out away from the spine. Draw the front ribs into the body. Lift the kneecaps. Breathe. Excellent. Bend the knees. Child's pose. Hips onto the heels and hands back by the feet. Shoulders drape over the knees here. Listen to the sound of your breath. Feeling that awakening sensation from that strong down dog. Excellent. Hands come forward again. Find your tabletop. And toes tuck. Downward dog once more. Hips up and back. Feet nice and wide. Walk your feet a bit forward, about maybe halfway up your mat. Turn your toes out and sit the hips down into a squat. So right away into a squat. And we're going to keep our hands on the floor here in this first one. So just reaching the fingertips down, breathing into the squat, feeling that deep compression in the front of the hip. Now palms touch here. The elbows will press out against the knees. Knees will squeeze in against the elbows. You'll feel the spine lengthen and grow a little bit taller and a little bit more depth into the hip. Excellent. Reach your hands behind you and have a seat. Legs come out in front. Oh, and we probably likely need to bounce them vigorously, shake them to release. Sitting up nice and tall here with the hands down by the sides, staff pose or Dandasana. We're going to point the toes and flex. So let's inhale to point and exhale to flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. Now circle the ankles in one direction. They can go in opposite directions. They can go in the same direction. Just lots of circles here, really trying to push, pull, and squeeze all the range of motion that you can get out of the ankle. Go in the other direction. Feeling that nice warming up of the ankles. Excellent. Take your right foot and bring the foot to cross on top of your left thigh. Hold on to your foot with your hand, left hand, and bring your right hand onto your knee. We're going to lift the right knee and let it drop. So lift and drop. You just want to keep your breath steady here as we're lifting and dropping this leg. Warming up the hip a bit. Good. And then grabbing onto the foot, interlace your hands around the foot and just move that foot in a figure eight. I think a figure eight is most effective. It's actually an infinity symbol. It's like a sideways figure eight. Yep. Awakening the hip. And go in the other direction if you can. Tracing that infinity symbol in space with the foot. All right, now wrap your two arms underneath like a forklift underneath. Okay, and then just try to sit up nice and tall. This is a pretty deep stretch for early on, but we're going to see how it goes. If that feels pretty good, take your elbows around the knee and the ankle and then rock this a bit side to side. All right, excellent. Let's extend that leg out and bounce it and rock it, and then bring your left foot in. The same thing on this side, holding on to that foot with your hand, left hand on top of the knee, and we're going to lift it and drop it. Lift and drop, or you might push it down, depending on how that feels in your own body. But a real sense of warming and getting into the hip. All right, hands interlace around the foot, and we're going to trace that infinity symbol again. Lots of breath here. Go in the other direction. Not quite as easy to go in the other direction. And fork left, so arms come underneath, cradling the lower part of the leg. Try to sit up nice and tall. If you can, take a few breaths as that deep stretch begins to reach into the left hip. And maybe now stay with that, or cradling the leg here, elbows around knee and foot, interlacing the fingers and rocking a bit side to side. Excellent. We'll release that leg down as well, and then bounce it, rock it, and draw the soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana, but we're going to take a variation with this today. So we've got the feet together and the heels are nice and close in. Keep your hands behind you. So bring the hands behind, and you're going to lean down into the hands so the spine's nice and tall. Press the feet together and let the knees drop down. Breathing here. You might even come up onto your fingertips if you need that. Otherwise, palms can be down onto the mat. And feeling this nice opening. All right, we're going to release from this and take it up one notch. If this is plenty of sensation for you, just stay right here in this pose with the soles of the feet together. Otherwise, take a block and bring a block between the soles of the feet, right? So just a block so it's flat onto the mat between the feet. And again, try to draw those heels nice and close in, fingertips down, palms down, press down into the hands, and then sit up out of this, knees heavy to the earth, breathing into the hips, breathing into the inner thighs. Excellent. Great. We'll release the block. Bring the feet onto the mat. Take the feet wide and windshield wiper them side to side. Crossing the ankles, come forward and find tabletop. But in this tabletop, you're going to have the knees together and the toes tucked under. Sit the hips back onto the heels and walk your hands forward until you can kind of come down almost like a child's pose. But you're going to press your hands down into the mat to really shift your weight back onto the feet. So we're getting that good stretch through the plantar fascia and the bottom of the foot. The head is heavy and relaxed, and the breath is steady. All right. Now, we can take this in phases. This is a really good place to stay if your feet are tight. Okay. Otherwise, you can come up and we'll take just a moment, toe squat. Right. So now we have our shoulders above the hips and we're getting quite a bit more weight and force down onto the toes. So this would be option 2, palms to the heart. You can stay here. Option 3, fingertips come down. And then you come to lift onto the toes. Focus your gaze and see if you can balance here. So balancing, palms come to the heart. And we lift the shoulders over the hips. Try to lift the heels. So we're really balancing on those toes. Excellent. From here, hands come forward, but the knees go apart, right? So we have the feet together. Let the knees go apart. We're still up on the toes and the arms are forward. Breathing into the hips. You can stay right here or let your torso start to lower down. Maybe resting onto the forearms. If this is too much for your feet, you're always welcome to come right back into garland pose, that squat that we did earlier. Maybe straightening the arms out in front of you, letting the head drop down. Good. And then we'll release slowly, placing the knees down. Find tabletop. Lift the feet. Squeeze and release the toes. Circle the ankles. Let all of that efforting go. And then take a seat in Sukhasana. Let the hands rest onto the knees. Let the eyes close. And taking a few breaths here to allow all of that work we've just done in the lower body to settle in. So noticing if there's any difference at all in the quality of your seat or your sense of awakening throughout the body.